Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
The podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and preview all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, Conte's time at Tottenham may be coming to an end after a remarkable rant after Spurs' draw at the weekend. Patrick Vieira loses his job and is replaced by his predecessor, Roy Hodgson. On the pitch, there was a comfortable win for league leaders Arsenal and another Haaland hat-trick. And Fulham's implosion sees both Manchester clubs head to Wembley in the FA Cup.
Lots and lots to get on with this week. So, let's talk football. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
So here we are then. Let's get straight into it.
Get straight into what?
What's going on at Tottenham?
Well, what isn't going on, I think, would be probably a better thing to say.
It's all gone a bit loud very quickly.
Well, I think this has been coming since we got knocked out by AC Milan. And obviously, I said last week that beating Nottingham Forest only papered over the crack. Well, the crack has got bigger. Got very big.
I think it's more of a canyon.
Yeah, canyon, chasm. Yeah. So we were quite comfortable against Southampton.
Yeah.
And then we weren't.
Yeah.
We folded like packed cards.
It's Tottenham being Tottenham.
It was and it wasn't. Obviously, if the third goal goes in for us, I mean, they scored pretty much straight away.
But
some of our restarts were terrible. I mean, obviously, they scored after half time, literally 40 seconds into the second half. And then they scored a couple of minutes after we scored. The penalty, it's not a penalty for me. I think that's very harsh. But obviously it's given and they score. And then Antonio goes off on his, tirade of... I was watching it, or I watched it afterwards. And he was bellowing at the journalists. Literally bellowing at them. It's crazy. I mean, there's a guy that I follow who's a Tottenham reporter. Alistair Gold is his name. And he did a YouTube video over the weekend. It's like, hands up if you've been shouted at by Antonio Conte this week.
Oh dear.
But to be fair, some of the things that he said, I agree with. There are others that I do not.
Go on then.
So the whole thing about the players being selfish and that they don't want to play for each other. No, I don't agree with that. There might be a few of them that do, but the majority of them, I think, you throw yourself into a challenge, you throw yourself in front of the ball. That's players playing for one another.
Yeah, but he might not be talking about that so much. It might be more around when they're in attacking positions and the way that they play together as a team on the front foot might not be cohesive.
But then that's down to the system.
Is it though?
Yes.
Because what if he's asking them to do one thing and they're doing another?
Potentially, yeah.
They're getting into certain positions and rather than going, you're in a better position, them going, actually, no, I'm going to take this.
Yeah, no, they were pointing things out like that over the weekend. Obviously, Harry Kane had a shot where it may have been easier to pass it to somebody else, but it's Harry Kane.
Just like he should have given it to Sterling against Croatia.
Here we go. To be fair, it was Harry Kane. I allow him to have a pot shot every now and again. So that I don't particularly agree with. I think his tactical rigidity is the thing that's stifling us. Obviously, we've conceded 40 Premier League goals so far. That's the most out of the top 12. Everton, West Ham, and Southampton, I think, have conceded less than we have, which is...
Good work.
Well, it's not good, is it? It's not good enough. So is that down to the system? Is that down to him trying to make us play defensively when we are not very good at that?
You're not very good at anything, let's be honest.
Well, I've always said, and I've been a Tottenham fan for what?
No, you're right. Actually,
26 years? Come on.
I take that back. No, you are very good at one thing.
Letting things go.
Losing football games.
Yeah. I've been a Tottenham fan for sort of 26 years. Our best form of defence is attack. Always has been.
Yeah, but
so
that's
this
not...
notion of we can sit back and we can soak up the pressure. If he
But
hasn't figured it out 18 months into the job, he's not that good a manager.
You don't win things without having a good defence.
You don't win things without having a good defence. No, I agree. And he has asked for an upgrade in the defensive areas. Obviously, he got Christian Romero.
Yeah.
You got Clement Longley, who admittedly probably wasn't the first choice. You got Ivan Perisic, who scored his first goal at the weekend. Try telling him that.
He's more the other way, though, any Perisic.
No, but he's playing as a wing-back.
I know,
so
but
he's playing as part of the defence.
He's more of an attacker.
So, I don't think he can... I mean, he's got Pedro Porro.
No, I think he's got plenty of room to complain.
He has and he hasn't.
If your back three...
Yeah.
Is the team that it is now, and you're Antonio Conte, and you've been there for 18 months, and you're going, I need reinforcements in this area, and you've got Daniel Levy turning around and going, no, I don't think so, mate. You can see how frustration
I
could
can
build.
See how frustration would boil over, and he would get
the quality. Let's be serious for a second.
Yeah.
The quality Tottenham have brought in isn't great.
No, because we've not really. I mean, defensively, we've brought in. I mean, Christian Romero and Longley.
I mean, since Vertonghen and Alderweireld has left.
Yeah. We haven't replaced.
No one really
yet.
in there.
No.
I mean, Romero, I think he's a very good footballer, but he struggles a bit at times.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer hasn't been it for about 5 years.
No.
And then, you've had Ben Davis in there. With Davidson Sanchez, he's weak.
Davis is a 6 out of 10 every week. You know what you get with Davis. Yeah.
There's nothing in there really that is commanding, that is going to lead a back line.
No. Yeah, other than Romero would probably do that, but yeah.
I just don't see it, and I think the quality in there, and that's what's boiling over, is that he's probably saying, I need this, I need this, I need this. He's probably getting pushed back every moment because Daniel Levy's Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
He's busy trying to sort out Danny Rose's move to Inter Milan.
But then he's insistent on playing a back five because that's the only system he's used in his career.
But that's what he's won trophies with doing that.
But if you haven't got the players to play with that system,
then get the players in. Then give him the players. I disagree. You see, you're saying that Conte needs to change. I don't think Conte needs to change.
I don't think he needs to change. I think he needs to adapt.
Well, that is change. Sorry, adapting is changing. No matter how you try and wrap that up, if you adapt something, you change it.
But it's not. It's not changing it completely. It's adapting it to the situation that he has.
Yep, but that comes down to him not believing that football club is giving him the backing that he needs to succeed.
But then he said himself that it will take 2 or 3 transfer windows to get things done. It won't happen overnight.
Yeah, but the problem he's probably having right now is as he's saying, I need this, I need this, I need this, he's getting told, well, we can't do that. Unfortunately, we're not making progress with this. And the frustration's building up because the club isn't moving for him. The club isn't helping him. And he sat there going, I can win you things. I've won everywhere I've been.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's been, he's won something.
But has he arguably had a very good squad to start with and has won stuff through there?
But it's about the club giving him that. And he's understood that it was a rebuild job. But like I said, he hasn't had he's not getting the support. Him saying he knows what he wants, but then the club's telling him no. Then that is what you get. You get what you got on Saturday. You saw it with Mourinho when he was at United, when he was begging for a centre back, and then he started going off at the club.
Yeah,
he probably did the same for you guys as well, where he said wasn't happy with what was going on backstage.
Jose wasn't happy from minute 1, I think.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't have joined Tottenham. I think that was a big mistake for him.
No,
but he realises that. But anyway, back to the point in hand. Conte has won everywhere he's been, playing a way that he's played.
Yeah,
and the club brought him in on that premise, right? So it's then up to the football club to give him the players that he needs to play the way he wants, and at least show signs that they're moving in that direction. There's little signings, but the quality hasn't been there.
Yeah.
And you know, let's remember, Tottenham have a model where the manager doesn't have always the final say on the signing.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to him in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah. So the club, he doesn't always have the final say on the signings. So therefore, he cannot be responsible for the quality of the player that's coming through the door.
No.
Because he doesn't have the final say on them.
But then
he might have an input in the type of player and that kind of thing. Yeah. But then the decision will come and it'll be, right, okay, this is a player we think fits your profile. Yeah. Bring him in. And then he has to trust that the club have done its due diligence with the quality, checking the quality of the player.
Yeah.
Well, you do, because that's
No,
the system.
I was just going to say something about Danjuma. There was a thing come out today about Danjuma that apparently nobody checked whether he would fit into Antonio Conte's system or not.
And that's a fair point, really, because he's an out-and-out winger, really, Danjuma.
So
he's an out-and-out winger.
Why the hell did we bring him in?
He's not really even an inside kind of forward.
No, he's
a old school winger.
Yeah,
he gets around the outside. He might throw it in the box, which might be useful for Harry Kane in essence of doing that type of thing. But actually, the way that Conte wants to set up his team, and that's the thing, that's the disconnect. And so you know what Conte is, you know what he's about.
Yeah.
You've got to give him the support that he needs.
To be fair, I think he's had plenty in terms of the players that have come in. Obviously, you've got Bentancur, Kulusevski, Perisic,
which were two players that actually those first two were very, very good. Are very, very good for you.
Yeah,
and did see the improvements come on, but then elsewhere,
obviously Bentancur has been missing for a couple of months.
Yeah,
that's a big blow.
No, it is a big loss.
But I think Skippy's done brilliantly since he's come in. He now looks like the player that he was before he got injured. Højbjerg seems to have gone the other way. He seems to be very aggy, very sort of like, no, you do it. You go and do this. Rather than the fight that he showed under Mourinho, probably. So, yeah, it's as I say, I agree with some of the things he said. I don't necessarily agree with others. I do think that they are fighting for one another. I don't see them as a selfish group of players. I see them as, a group of players that are trying their best but are being hampered by what their babies are being asked to do, by sort of playing with this sort of this low block, if you like, trying to soak up the pressure, trying to sort of deal with that, and then spring forward into attack with the front three, trying to work together. Because when we attack, we only attack in maybe threes or fours. We don't go together. And that's maybe where, tactically, he's got it a little bit wrong, maybe. I mean, obviously, up until this point, we've been doing really well. But the last, probably since the World Cup, I think, and obviously he's been away, he's come back, and it's kind of, you just see that he's talking in theys, and he's talking about them rather than we and us.
Well, there we go. Well, we'll find out, because probably by the time you hear this, he might have already gone.
Sounds like it's in the offing. It sounds interestingly that maybe Fabio Paratici is going to go with him.
Yeah, you see, that's what I find very confusing.
Well,
I find it confusing because obviously that's the two elements of the first team, right?
Yeah.
So either because the way I look at it, if he's going, the director of football or whatever he's called,
sporting director, whatever we call him,
yeah. He's going. He is the man that makes the decisions with the signings.
Yeah.
And a lot of what Conte had talked about was, around that type of the club aren't necessarily supporting him correctly.
Yeah.
That feels like he's getting his own way with that one, doesn't it?
Potentially.
It's not as if they're a pair. Them two, are they?
Paratici bought Conte in, but then he also recommended Nuno. So,
not great.
Plus, obviously, he's got the whole business around him with Juventus.
Yeah.
And,
to be fair, that might be one of the reasons why
that's
going
to come to the boil in the next 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, probably needs to get some space, doesn't he?
Maybe, and perhaps...
Or, Levy just wants to separate so that he doesn't come back to Tottenham.
Maybe, and perhaps... Obviously, there is a rumour that Ryan Mason is going to take over for the rest of the season. There is also another rumour that we are looking to bring someone in permanently now, and getting Fabio Paratici out of the way might open the door for something to happen. Obviously, if a manager doesn't want to work with a sporting director, then you get rid of said sporting director, right?
Sounds like a good plan.
I mean, it's going to be interesting next couple of days. Keep an eye on it. I would.
We shall see.
I know I will be anyway.
Well, you definitely will be, but we'll have to wait and see kind of what happens. But that's not even... I mean, the football merry-go-round has done a U-turn.
I mean, it really has. I mean, Roy Hodgson, obviously, they gave him the greatest send-off. It's like, goodbye, everybody. I'm off.
It's awkward, though, isn't it, that? That's awkward, that, isn't it? Oh, hi again.
Oh, look. Hello. In fairness, it's a really good appointment, I think.
I think it will be. You know, we haven't really introduced it, but Patrick Vieira obviously lost his job last weekend.
After a very, 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 very poor run. But...
yeah, but the fixture list...
yeah, exactly.
Fixture list was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm shocked, actually, that when you look at those fixtures...
yeah.
I mean, there must be a lot else going on that they didn't like for him to... it can't be purely on results in those games, again, in those fixtures, because it doesn't feel right that you lose your job as a manager when you're losing to teams up that far, that far away from where Palace are. Yeah.
I think by the sounds of what Steve Parish was saying, it was kind of results and kind of, if I didn't do something now and then the worst happens, I'd never forgive myself.
I mean, we know Roy Hodgson is a good pair of hands, a very experienced pair of hands.
He's a safe pair of hands. Yeah, he is.
But I don't know, man. I'm a Man United fan. I'm not a massive Patrick Vieira fan, but I just feel like he's been really hard done by there, to be honest.
He has been really hard done by. I agree with you.
I just feel like when you're playing against those teams, and you can lose those games easy, and I don't think they necessarily played bad in most of those games.
No, they were in quite a few of them.
Yeah, and it's just give him a chance to get out of that part of the season, and then just turn around to go, well, I had to pull the trigger because, well, you could have easily been in this position. Yeah, you could have looked at your fixtures at the start of the season and gone, that's a tough run after the World Cup.
Yeah,
and gone, right, okay, we might have to see where we are after that. We could easily be. I mean, they're not. I mean, yes, they're in that danger conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're like, what, 12th, 13th?
They're 12th, but they are only 3 points away from the bottom.
I get that, but there's easily 6 or 7. There's easily 4 teams that are worse than them.
There are, but I think they've got to break this cycle of...
yeah, but they can do. That fixture list was unreal to them. It was so bad to have to go through that spell. I think that they just needed a reality pill at the start of the season. Look at your fixture list and go, right, okay, that's going to be a bit of a rough run.
Yeah.
So we might not be too clear at that point. But then you look at the team. They've got to still play all the teams that are fighting relegation.
They've got to play Leicester, Leeds, Leicester, Leeds, Southampton, and Everton are their next 4.
Exactly.
Wolves after that. West Ham after that.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why take him away now when he's been through? He'd been through that tough period.
Yeah.
This now, this was when he's had the chance
looking at it
to
like
come
that,
through.
It does seem like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, doesn't it?
It's ridiculous. It's so. I mean, yeah, like I said, not a massive Patrick Vieira fan. Obviously, he was a great footballer, but I've got no affinity to him. Let's put it that way. No attachment to the guy. I just don't think he deserved that. There was no need.
I mean, if they stay up, it's the right decision.
But they might have stayed up anyway.
I mean, hindsight will be a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Yeah. The only way you know if it was a bad decision or not was to not take it, and if they went down.
Yeah.
Because he could easily keep. And Roy Hodgson is retired how many times now? And Patrick Vieira is a young manager. Who's finding his feet, learning his way, and has been around and has done all, he's done a lot to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
got to give him a proper chance.
You have, but then I look at their
There
squad
are
and go...
Yeah, but there are teams worse.
No, but I look at their squad and I go, Roy worked with probably 85% of them.
Oh, of course.
And go, it's one of them ones where it kind of makes sense, but you kind of like, okay.
It's just, I was just like, why have they done that? Why have they put? Why
to
have
be
they?
fair, I said it's been coming for a while.
Yeah, but that run.
Yeah.
It all comes back to that run. You could easily have had that run.
Yeah.
Easily, and now he's got all the teams down the bottom down the bottom end of the table, let alone the bottom half of the table, the bottom end of the table, where there's a real opportunity to see how it went, and you could have easily given it 2 or 3 of those games, and you'd have still been okay. You'd have still been okay.
You might have been. You
would have been. No, you would have been, because they can't. There's only there might only be 3 points between them and the bottom, but that's at the bottom of the table. That could be 2 or 3 weeks before you're in danger.
Well, I can see both sides of it. I can kind of see why they've done it now and why they haven't waited.
I think it's preposterous what they've done, to be honest. I think it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I mean, you don't need to do it.
Send Steve Parish an email.
You don't care what I've got to say, let's be honest.
But made his decision now.
Yeah, and we'll see how it all plans out for him.
Yeah.
But there we are. Right, should we talk about some actual football?
Yeah, let's get... I mean, what's this podcast called again? I can't remember.
Let's talk off the pitch football podcast.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of the games, to be honest. I saw City, I saw United, I saw a bit of Arsenal.
Yeah, that was good Arsenal, to be fair to them.
Arsenal was solid again.
Mm-hmm.
They're really looking good.
Did you happen to catch the Wolves-Leeds game?
I did not catch the Wolves-Leeds game. Was it a good one?
It was, and it was, I mean, VAR again. Oh, Wolves have got such bad luck with VAR. They really have. They should have had a penalty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They should have had a penalty. I don't see why that's not been given. Obviously, they get a VAR call with a red card, which was quite rightly. He was well over the top of the ball.
Yeah.
The Matthias Nunez thing where he got sent off, that's now been rescinded.
Right.
He was on the sidelines and he got sent off for overreacting to something.
Brilliant.
Probably well, to be fair, I think there was a foul on Adama Traore, and when I say the word foul, I use inverted commas. He basically tugged his shirt a little bit.
Oh dear.
The tiniest bit. Adama Traore being Adama Traore. Oh, I've gone off balance. And then gave the ball away.
He runs very, very quickly.
He wasn't even running, Chris. He was standing still at that point. And Leeds scored from that particular thing. That is not a free kick, in my opinion. If we start giving free kicks for that, we might as well go home. So, yeah. And Leeds coming out winners in a very big game down the bottom.
Yeah, massive game. Massive game indeed.
Do we want to talk about Alexander Mitrovic?
Yes, let's do. Let's just talk about that whole 90 seconds of absolute madness.
I mean,
or however long it was. It was
wasn't
crazy.
Really watching it, but I was keeping my eye on it, as they say. And obviously,
and Fulham have played really well.
Fulham played really well for
particularly
75 minutes of that game.
Particularly that spell after half time, I thought in particular, where they really put us under pressure just before they scored.
Yeah.
And even after they scored. And then obviously we get that break.
Yeah.
Sancho seemed to take forever to take his shot, which essentially won us the game.
Yeah.
That little slowdown, taking his time, and he hits the shot, and Willian, I mean, you do it, instinct, I guess, kicks in at that point.
I mean, his arm is close to his body, but he is handball.
Yeah, but you can't. But the thing is, he's done it on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. His hand's in a fist.
Yeah, no, he's flicked his arm away to send the ball wide. Yeah.
Yeah, his hand's in a fist, and you wouldn't necessarily, you're not always going to be in a fist. And he did kind of lean down a bit into it. Mm-hmm. That might be instinct, but he's on the goal line, and that one, those handballs in the box like that,
clear as day. Yeah,
they're red cards. It's not like the old. They don't have the same ruling around double jeopardy.
No,
for
because
those,
you're denying a goal. You're denying a goal. Yeah.
You're denying a goal. It's not a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
It is a goal. So you're stopping a goal by foul play. So that's a straight red. So that's gone. So I don't know. And this thing where Marco Silva apparently was frustrated about VAR not checking one on Mitrovic in the first half.
Right.
Where Mitrovic puts his leg across our player and goes down like he's been shot. So that's where all the frustration boiled over.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much the Willian decision. Apparently, they were all kicking off because they didn't do the penalty check in the first half for something completely separate to that whole situation.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Marco Silva loses the pot. Poor old Luis Boamorte is there going, come on, too late, red card's out. Great, now I'm in charge. and then Mitrovic, the aggression.
Yes, he was very aggressive. Yeah.
You know, and people keep comparing it to the Bruno Fernandes one.
Yeah.
And I'm just
it's not in the same
completely
category.
different. It's a completely different situation.
Yeah.
I mean, neither should do what happened.
Yeah.
But I think the explanation was with the Bruno one was that the linesman touched him first, and it was more an act of petulance.
Yeah.
Than an aggressive.
Mitrovic has got in his face.
He got up to him. He's pulled him round, and then he's in his face, barraging him. The red card comes out, and then he goes back in closer.
Yeah, he's literally a yard away from his face, isn't he?
So dumb.
Yeah.
I've said the word dumb a lot today, but it's true. No, there wasn't.
No need.
Because, you know, you're down to 10 men. You can work with 10 men.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it might still go to 1-1.
Well, yeah, obviously, the penalty hasn't been taken yet.
No.
Yeah.
So you don't know. You just keep your head.
Yeah.
Go, right, okay, it's going to be a bit tough. It's going to be hard work. But actually, we've played really well. Yeah. And we can do this. But then to go down to 9.
Time and penalties and see what happens, yeah.
Well, yeah, when you go down to 9, it's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's just done. As you said in the intro, they imploded.
Yeah. And then obviously we get the equaliser. And then I think what was important for United, they got the second one very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it could have been one of those. It gets the crowd up then. And rather than having a nervy. I mean, I think we would have got the breakthrough eventually anyway, because we'd have put more and more pressure on. Yeah. I think it would have just happened.
Yeah, against 8 outfield players, you would. Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's and so Sabitzer gets his first goal.
Yeah.
Now both the loanees have got goals, so I'm happy.
You feel justified now, do you?
It's just good. No, it's just good for them. It's nice for them. They might only be here for like 6 months or whatever, but they've had something to proper. Yeah. And yes, they've both won a cup as well, but you know they've had their moment at the Stretford end. They've both scored, and they've both scored at the Stretford end now.
Yeah.
So that I like.
So what do we think will happen to Mitrovic? Will he get a long-term ban?
I think he will. I think he'll end up with a 7 or 8 game ban off the back of this. If I was to guess, and it's only guessing.
Yeah.
I think it'd be something like that.
I would say they will probably throw the book at him. Yeah.
Yeah. It was ridiculous, and there's no need for it.
There's no need for it, and it goes back to what we were saying maybe a month ago about players surrounding the referee and the captain being allowed to talk to the
I still think that should just be a thing.
Yeah.
The only person allowed to talk
because we've got to protect the referee at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's rough enough as it is.
Man in the middle.
You know, they take a lot of stick.
They do.
Sometimes rightly so.
Yeah. But
in terms of decisions, criticisms around decisions. Yeah. You know, you have to take that. But they are gonna make mistakes. But at the same time, they're out there to do a job. Yeah, exactly. They're out to do a job, and they, you know, it's the old Sunday League thing.
Yeah,
it's the old Sunday League thing. You can't have a game without the ref.
You can't. No,
you can't do it. It's that old, you know.
Yeah.
If the ref's not there, you can't play.
No.
Essentially. So
to be fair, right, referee the Sunday League game is very hard.
Yeah. I imagine so.
Yeah,
especially when you get 2-footed by the left back for giving a free kick against them.
But crazy game of football.
Indeed. And then there is the old man Haaland, or the young man Haaland, just scoring goals for fun now.
I mean, Burnley are going to have to get used to it again, aren't they? I guess.
I mean, yeah, if they're coming back up, they'll have another couple next season to deal with.
To be fair, they did well to hold out for half an hour. I thought for half an hour it looked like a fairly interesting cup tie.
No, it was all right. And then but it was always going to happen.
It was always going to happen. A
It was
goal
just a
was
matter of
coming.
time.
It was just a matter of time.
Yeah. And then they came, and then they didn't stop.
Yeah, when they got five more, you were like, blimey. Okay.
Yeah, indeed. It was crazy. But there we are. That's I think that's the main. Is there anything else that we need? I mean, I'll be honest, like I said, I haven't really been...
No, Sheffield United getting through. That was a good game between them and Blackburn.
Yes, no, Sheffield United did have a really good game, didn't they?
Last minute goal. Obviously, the two
Always
players
huge.
that are on loan from Manchester City cannot play in the semi.
Yeah, which is always the way.
Yeah. Shame for the two young lads, but rules are rules and all that.
Brighton smacked Grimsby, as you sort of would expect.
Grimsby, yeah, obviously they had a great run to round 5, and they're never going to get much further than that.
That's your semi-finals, isn't it? Brighton United.
Brighton, Sheffield United.
Manchester United, Brighton.
Manchester United, sorry, yeah. Sheffield United.
Man City. Yeah. Sheffield United at Wembley. It's played next month, I think.
Yeah, April, end of April.
So, yeah, the Premier League games. Let's just have a quick nose.
Everton did well, I thought, against Chelsea.
Yeah, the 2-2 draw there. Chelsea had that recovery, so they're in a much better place. But then, the 89th minute, was it Simmons?
Yeah, Sims with the goal.
Sims rather.
Yeah. Battling point for Everton. Deserved that, I thought, from the game itself.
Yeah. Much
Aston
needed.
Villa beating Bournemouth after last week.
Yeah.
Couldn't replicate it, but it's difficult going to Villa when Villa are up, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Villa now on equal points with Chelsea.
Yeah.
With an outside chance of Europe, Villa.
Outside chance of Europe, very outside, but yeah.
Well, Europe. I mean, Brighton are on what 42. Brighton and Liverpool are on 42.
Got 2 games in hand.
Well, Liverpool are only got 1 game on Villa.
Yeah.
On 42, and Brentford are on 42.
Does it go down to 7th?
I think it'll go. It might go to. It depends on the cup final, I think.
So
FA Cup final.
6th would get the other Europa League place, and then 7th would get the Conference League place.
Yeah, because it's the League Cup winners.
The League Cup winners get a cup in a Europa League place.
Yeah, so that'll go into the league now because United won it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think the same thing happens with the FA Cup.
What happens with the FA Cup one?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might get absorbed into the league. It depends who wins it.
Oh yeah, but
at this point, it looks like it's going to be blue or red.
But even Brighton, because Brighton could qualify for Europe on league status.
It could be blue or red.
I mean,
all
you're not
4
wrong.
Teams play in blue or red.
Well, technically, Sheffield United would tell you they play in red and white.
Don't be picky.
I'm just saying, if you ask a Sheffield United fan, they would go, "No, we don't play in red. We play in red and white." That would be like saying Celtic playing green.
They do play in green.
They play in green and white hoops, and Newcastle playing black and white, and that's just because of that quality of their football is so 1950s.
Oh,
it's just a joke. It's just a joke, Newcastle fans.
Let's Football Pod. Let him have it.
It's just a joke.
Speaking of Newcastle,
well, their social leanings of their owners, that's definitely 1950s.
Oh,
that's political satire.
Oh my god!
Put that in if you dare. All right, we're going to join you soon. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the football.
Yeah.
Newcastle getting a good win over Nottingham Forest on Friday.
Yeah, no, a good win again for Newcastle. They keep getting the victories that they need.
They do, putting pressure on the teams above them.
Which, of course, is mainly Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham have played 2 games more.
Yeah.
Than both Newcastle and Manchester United.
Yeah. Moving on.
6th place is looking very nice for Tottenham this season.
Moving on. And lastly, we come to Brentford and Leicester finishing 1 each.
Yep. Which was what it was.
An alright game. Not many shots on target.
Yep.
Both sides playing it out for the rest of the season.
I doubt it. Leicester.
It's a good point for Leicester, actually. Looking at the league table, I thought they were higher up than that.
Relax yourself. I was about to say, you okay there? They're like literally a point off relegation.
Oh, they're fine. Crystal Palace are on 27. They're 2 points in front of them. They're safe. You know.
Fucking.
Oh dear.
But there we go.
It has
Right.
been statistically proven as well. Tightest relegation race ever
Oh, it's
in
got
Premier
to be.
League history.
You can't have that many. What is it? 4 points from bottom to 12th.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Right then, shall we have a little look, see what's going on around the world?
Well, I need to catch my breath for a second. Cool. Going on around the world, there has been a lot of stuff going on, so bear with me. It's going to take a while. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I'm going to start this week in La Liga, where Frank Keze wins El Clasico to leave Real with a mountain to climb to catch Barcelona. 12 points is the lead for them now. I suspect they may start to focus more on the Champions League. I'm just saying. To Serie A, where the Rome derby ended in a mass brawl as Lazio did the double over Roma. A player from each side was sent off after the final whistle. Those followed a red card in the game itself for Roger Ibanez. He was sent off for Roma. A mass brawl also took place after Juventus beat Inter to close the gap to the top four. Napoli's lead is up to 19 points after they won and Milan lost. PSG's long unbeaten home run is over. They were beaten by Rennes. Reims' long run is over too, thanks to Marseille. Reims managed by Will Still, who hit the headlines earlier this season for his Football Manager exploits. Reims reportedly pay €22,000 every time they play a game with Will in charge. Will they or won't they? I don't know. In the Bundesliga, Dortmund replaced Bayern at the summit after they lost to Leverkusen. Dortmund hammered Cologne 6-1. They meet each other after the international break. That's going to be probably the title decider, I would have thought. Still a long way to go, though. Much like the women's FA Cup quarterfinals took place this weekend. Aston Villa beat Man City. Chelsea beat Reading. Brighton beat Birmingham. Manchester United beat Lewis to qualify for the Final Four. In the Championship, Wigan have 3 points deducted for failing to pay their players on time. Rotherham and Cardiff's game ends in an abandonment after a downpour, but it's under investigation after a video emerged of the ground staff putting water back onto the pitch. Don't really know why they did that. They were losing at the time, though. Well, in the A-League, a last-minute equaliser for former EFL favourite Ryan Williams secured a point for Perth Glory against Newcastle Jets. In the MLS, Wayne Rooney's DC United lost to New York City in the Eastern Conference, just one win so far for Wayne's men. No such problem for St. Louis in the Western Conference. They made it 4 wins from 4. And finally, we head to Al Nazir. They got back to winning ways by beating Abab by 2-1. Ronaldo did score what Piers Morgan called a classic Ronaldo free kick, negating to say that the wall parted like the Red Sea, allowing a rather tame free kick to go through it.
Oh dear. Right, quickly then, back to this Rotherham-Cardiff thing.
Yeah.
So we're at Rotherham?
We're at Rotherham, yeah.
And Rotherham are losing to Cardiff.
Rotherham are losing to Cardiff. There is a downpour at the start of the second half.
So then the players are brought off.
The players are taken off.
Let's see if we can clear the pitch.
Yeah.
And the groundsmen go, well, we're losing. Yeah. Let's just put some water.
So they were dragging the water off the pitch, but when they were dragging the thing back in, they were pulling some of the water back into the play.
I think that might just be incompetence.
It might be, but they did have the sprinklers on at half time as well.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Right, you make what you will of that at home. I'm not getting sued.
One thing that I did forget to mention, the Women's FA Cup final draw has also taken place. It took place today.
Okay.
Aston Villa take on Chelsea in the first of the semi-finals.
We got a double Brighton.
Manchester United take on Brighton in the second semi-final.
The double headers. The Brighton United double header. Are they playing the same weekend as well?
No, they're playing the weekend before.
That would have been a good weekend.
It would have been a good weekend. Unfortunately, they're not played at Wembley, so I mean, it takes the prestige away from the women, I guess, and from the men in that respect. If you have both semi-finals on the same weekend,
I don't like them being at Wembley, but I just thought that would have been a really good good day or whatever. So you got
It
one.
would, but then if some
you've got
people
like
go
one
and watch,
semi-final. Yeah, but you've got
some
one.
people go and watch Manchester United and go and watch the ladies' team.
Yeah.
They can't do both, can they? If they're on
Yeah,
the
but
same
it's very
time.
It's very unlikely though, because obviously Wembley will sell out in an instance. So you've got a good 20,000
Yeah,
United
potentially.
season ticket holders that could watch the women's team that day. I'm just trying to make the point that actually, what from a fan's point of view, you could not necessarily the same day, but you could go right. One women's semi-final, men's semi-final, women's semi-final, men's semi-final, and make it a proper like FA Cup semi-final weekend.
Because they both, they'll all be on the BBC, won't they? So, yeah, I see your point, but yes, I agree with you that they shouldn't be played at Wembley, the semi-finals.
No, it's ridiculous. I don't like it.
No, always should be the showpiece. Just the final at Wembley, please.
Oh, I'll tell you what I did see in the week, and I don't know where I saw it,
okay,
or indeed how old it necessarily is. But I saw someone score a goal.
Right.
And the Hawkeye went off. It just tucked inside the post. The goalkeeper sort of gets a hand to it. But the watch goes off on the ref to say goal.
Yeah.
Gives the goal. Then VAR gets involved.
Mm.
The ref goes and looks at it on a monitor and says no goal.
How does that work?
I don't know. I thought it was in the Bundesliga. I think it was, but
if
I'm not.
His watch goes off.
Watch goes off. It's a goal. It's in the net.
Yeah, that's the whole
Hawkeye
point.
says it's a goal.
That's the whole point of Hawkeye.
It's a goal. And he's just like, he looks at it on the monitor and goes, "That's not a goal."
Bizarre.
Oh, I thought. Well, one thing I thought when he went over, I thought, oh, maybe it didn't go. Maybe it just went outside the post or whatever, or something. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't quite right, but it clearly goes into the goal, and his arm's flashing, and he's pointing at his arm when he tells the opposition players that it's a goal.
But then he rules. But then VAR.
He ruled it out. He goes to the monitor, looks at it, and goes, "No goal."
Crazy.
Dum-dums. Right. Okay. That's around the world. Next, Adonis is injured. Probably still on an injured table, so we won't worry about him.
Heartburn Drew, incidentally.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. I don't care. Fixtures then this weekend, what we're saying?
So, we are in European Championship qualification mode this weekend.
International break.
That was a very long thing for me to say. So, Italy take on England, potentially on Thursday. Obviously, there are some things going on in Naples that might stop it from taking place, but at the moment, Italy take on England. San Marino have the unenviable task of taking on Northern Ireland in qualifying. Good luck to San Marino, I guess, kind of. One other tie that I'd like to pick out, France against the Netherlands. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe named the new captain of France today. Scotland take on Cyprus on Saturday. Croatia take on Wales on Saturday as well. England play Ukraine on Sunday. Northern Ireland take on Finland. The other two home nations play on Tuesday.
Rightio then.
So we'll have a few things to talk about next week, but not
some interesting games. It won't be a lot. It might be a short one next week.
Well, we might still be talking about Antonio Conte.
Yeah, we could be. We can talk. We've got the United takeover, which we haven't really touched on this week.
Yes,
there's plenty to get through.
Obviously, that will probably come to a head next week.
As well, there'll be more bids going in this week, so we've got stuff to talk about.
We'll be fine.
See what goes on. We'll see what's going on. But anyway, for this week, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with all the news from the international break so far, plus whatever's going on in the football world. But for now, everyone, stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll see you next time. All right. Good night.
Bye.